Hi, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. My name is Ryan Toomey. I am the program manager for the high schools, middle schools in the greater Los Angeles area for Best Buddies.
Cool. I'd like to learn a little bit about the organization's relationship to schooling and education in the community. How does the organization see itself with respect to the schooling of children in the community? So for like education and educating children.
The big thing that Best Buddies does is that we train student leaders both on the special education side and general education side by teaching them social inclusion, people first language, intellectual disability training, leadership skills, just because the way Best Buddies works is that it's a student-run organization within schools, and we match kids within special ed and general ed in one-to-one friendship.
Cool. Can you tell me about the organization's history with schooling and schools and education, and if its role has changed and how it's changed over the past few years?
The way Best Buddy started was through Anthony Kennedy Shriver. In 1989, he started at his college program, and it's kind of grown from there. Really what we do now is we have 3 school programs, middle school, high school, college, and then we have 2 adult programs. One's friendship related and one's also a jobs program.
Cool. And then can you tell me how the organization interacts with local children and families?
The way that Best Buddies schools, we work with, like I said, school administration and the students, and then we also teach parents that their students either within special education side and general ed side can broaden their horizons and kind of erase the line of isolation between students with and without intellectual disabilities.
Right. And as I understand, you have a leadership development program for kids as well, right?
Yes, correct. So on both sides, actually, for the students with disabilities, we have a program called BUILD, Buddies United in Leadership, I believe. And the way that it works is that Best Buddies staff members provide leadership training and organization to students with intellectual disabilities, and we also then provide training for students who are also on the general education side.
Cool. In a perfect world, what would be the best ways for your organization and local schools to interact, like the best case scenario for the school that you work with?
Really, in a perfect world, is that we would really improve with more money. There's been a lot of budget cutbacks, and so schools themselves, on a personal level, have faced a lot of cutbacks in terms of pink slips for teachers, less money to go on field trips and stuff like that. The way also in the lower economic schools where we do have some Best Buddies chapters, it's hindered their field trips, some of their training and things like that.
What would be the best case scenario between the organization and local schools?
Total inclusion.
Best relationship.
Yeah. Like I said, we would like more money so we can expand more and provide them with a little bit more support. But really, what we want in a perfect world is total inclusion.
Awesome. And what would you change about the schools that you do have in your programs right now in terms of staff or parent support or anything like that?
Really, right now we have the majority of schools that I work with in the LA area, we have pretty good faculty and administrative support. Also, we have strong parent support. They lack some of the parents in the lower economic schools either lack a car or money to provide transportation for students to interact with each other outside the school setting. But right now we pretty much have a good sturdy foundation from school administration and parents.
Awesome. And then I'd like to hear more about your personal experience with the organization. How did you come to be involved in this organization and have your position here?
I was involved in college in one of the school programs. Also, I then interned for the Best Buddies office in Pennsylvania. So it kind of just was an easy transition to then start working for the organization.
Okay, so basically you kind of knew what you were getting into
Yep.
before you got into it. Um, which of the organization's accomplishments here make you feel most proud?
Um, like I said, we strive for total inclusion. So when you see that actual, inclusion and yeah, right, yeah, occur. That's really like that's the main goal of Best Buddies. So we love that we can see students both in the general ed side and special ed side intermingling without that stigma of special education or something like that.
Right, that must be really rewarding. What are some of the most significant challenges you face in the community that you serve Los Angeles, and how are you or the organization addressing those challenges?
The challenges right now is funding, like I said, but also we would like to see the program everywhere and anywhere. Also, like I said, it's just, it's such a simple thing to offer students a friendship program, but really it's difficult just because the society doesn't see that inclusion can be such a natural thing. So that's a challenge right now.
Can you tell me a little bit about the schools you attended yourself and how they compare to the schools that you serve or you manage now?
The schools that I attended when I was a kid. I went to a small private school, so there was no students who were there was no special education students whatsoever. But my family, my personal family, has always worked with individuals with intellectual disabilities, so that's how I'm familiar with it. But I like to see that the schools have special education programs, but obviously in some schools I don't like that the special ed classrooms are on the other side of campus or segregated from everybody else.
Right.
I would like to see them all, around the corner from each other and next door to each other. So.
And being at a private school, did you experience any of the same challenges with funding, etc., that you see in your schools right now?
Yeah, actually, the reason why we did suffer with lack of funding was because we were such a small school, so we didn't have such a large community support such as large public schools do. We weren't as well known, so I think in that way, it struggled, but also the purpose of the school was to be small, to give one-to-one teaching. So that was the big reason. So I think it struggled to maintain its size and to also at the same time gain funding.
Right. If you could go back to when you were first thinking about joining this organization or working in this position, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
Be prepared for many things, long hours, working, on items and paperwork that you've never been experienced for, going to college and working as an intern and doing the program in the school. I saw one side, but then working for them officially as a program manager there, you wear many hats, and you're not as prepared coming right out of school. So I would just kind of maybe go back in time and broaden my knowledge on many things.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about the relationship between your organization and local schools in the community? Anything to add?
Right now, I think what we're really just trying to do, like I said, was just do total inclusion and some people say the vision of Best Buddies is to be out of a job someday. So I know that that's nowhere in the future, just because it is such a crucial thing, and we will be working on the idea and purpose of inclusion for a very long time.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Ryan.
You're welcome.